Welcome back to the second part of the tutorial. Here we're going to take an existing environment that was created in the corridor project, and we're going to implement and insert the modular pipes. This scene was created and covered in Unreal Engine 4, the corridor project tutorial series, where we constructed, lit, and rendered the scene using two different lighting scenarios, daytime lighting and nighttime lighting. And the modular pipes were created in Unreal Engine 4 Modular Pipes Project tutorial series, where we modeled, UV'd, textured 32 custom static mesh assets and brought them over into Unreal Engine 4. And you will find the link to both of these tutorials in the description box or within the blog post. If you're just watching this now, make sure you watch the first part of the first tutorial, where we bring over the corridor project and the module assets into a new project and newer version of the engine. Let's open up the daytime lit scene. First thing I'm noticing is that it's missing a sky sphere. I don't need anything custom here, I just need the default skybox. So I'm gonna jump over, open up the default map, select the sky sphere, press Ctrl C to copy. Then reopen corridor daytime lit scene again and Ctrl V to paste. Next, I want to update the exposure or eye adaptation settings. I want to temporarily disable it so we don't get those drastic exposure setting changes as we work on the scene. So I'm going to select the post process, under exposure, set minimum and maximum brightness to 1. And that's actually way too dark. So I'm going to change it to 0.2. Alright, now we're ready to begin inserting the pipes. Instead of reinserting them one by one, which you can do, since we already did a lot of the work in the first tutorial, I'm going to grab those grouped modular pipes and copy them over into the scene. So I'm going to open back up the pipes test map that we worked on in the first tutorial. Select all the pipes, and you can see because I had them grouped, selecting them becomes a lot easier. Then I'm going to copy, Ctrl C, open the daytime scene back up, and Ctrl V to paste. And they're going to be off here to the side, so while they're still selected, I'm going to drag them and position them right above our scene. Alright, let's begin. I'm going to grab this pipe configuration, drag it down into the corridor, and we're going to have a set of pipes right up here at the top, curving around into the hallway with the stairs. Since all of these meshes were grouped, I had to press Shift G to ungroup them. And I removed everything I'm not going to use, and I kept the pipes at the top. And now I'm just trying to configure them so they are next to the wall and they wrap around the walls without overlapping. The key to making this work in an already existing environment that originally was not created to have these pipes is selectability, meaning that we want to place just a few of these pipes in the corridor in certain locations, in certain areas, and we want to use less than more. We don't want to overcomplicate and clutter what is an already good looking scene, and these pipes should add to the scene and complement it and not take anything away from it. Here I moved 2 more pipes, and I'm going to place them right up here, starting from the ceiling, and they're going to curve around and end up into a wall. Then I'm going to include 2 straight pipes going across the corridor from one side to the other, and I'm going to place it right here. And the distance of the corridor matches perfectly for 2 300 length pipes. I'm also going to place a few pipes in the back of the corridor. So I'm going to take the pipes we copied over, move them in the corner, and begin to position them. I'm going to have one pipe that starts from the wall and then goes into the floor. And then we'll have another pipe network starting from the ceiling, curving around, then being connected by a three-way pipe that extends down to the floor and then curves back into the wall. And it's a bit too dark in the corners, so I'm using a shortcut Alt-3 for unlit mode and then Alt-4 for lit mode. Let's add a couple of pipe supports to hold up the two straight pipes extending across the corridor. And then I'm going to position a couple of pipes right up the staircase so we can see it from our camera position. And you may notice that I'm jumping back to one section of the corridor right in the corner where I can see all the way down the corridor and up the stairs. This is a static scene and I have a few camera bookmarks set up so I can jump back to a specific point of view where I'll be taking the screenshots from. And I'm arranging these pipes in a way that is compositionally pleasing from that camera view. So in this specific environment, I'm paying more attention to how everything looks from just one or two angles. But if this was more of a playable environment, then I would consider a different composition and a different way to arranging and positioning these pipes. So you have to take into consideration what you create in this environment for, what its purpose. Is it a playable level where you get to walk around and explore? Or is it a standalone environment just to showcase it with screenshots and a video? And your positioning and arrangement of props for each will be different. And as far as the medium pipes go, I am done. I am trying to stick with what I said before by keeping things simple and not over cluttering the scene, which is very easy to do, especially when you have modular pipes, because I tend to want to add them everywhere. So the medium pipes positioning, I'm happy with that. And I moved on to adding small pipes. And I followed the same technique by taking what I copied over from the previous scene we created and then putting them into position where I want them to be, ungrouping, Shift G, and then rearranging so it fits that space. Then maybe adding a few more to extend the pipe configuration. And the placement of the small pipes is being followed by the same principle. Less than more. I just want to highlight and accentuate certain areas with the small pipes, just like we did with the medium pipes. And I mainly included the small pipes next to the medium pipes. And there's a lot of repositioning and adjusting going on, and I'm constantly jumping back to my camera view, to my bookmark, and seeing how it looks. And I'm often actually even repositioning the small pipes from that camera. And small pipes will take a little longer to position and align due to their small size and working on smaller grid spacing. And that applies to most of smaller meshes when you have to fine tune and detail very up close and have to be very precise. To speed things up, you just need to duplicate a lot more. So once you have one configuration done, then reuse that and duplicate it for another section, changing a few things here and there to make it a bit different. Then I'm going to position a few more of the smaller pipes on the other side of the corridor next to the windows. And I will also begin to add straight pipes at the top. Here I can choose to either align them from column to column. That will require me to change the z-axis, their height, to make sure they fit, or we can just go ahead and go right through the geometry and make the pipes intersect through the column. And if you do that, that's not going to be a big deal, because first, we are doing a static shot, and second, if it is a playable environment, then they're going to be high up, and the player will unlikely to notice or even care that the pipes are overlapping and going through the column. So I'm going to add a few more small pipes above the windows and then call it done. Alright, here we go. Now let's adjust the color of the material instance for the medium pipes and then for the small pipes. I'm going to change the color to maybe a different red so it matches our decal and not so intense as we had before. Also, a side note, I am using a color lookup table in the scene, so the colors are not going to be exactly to what you see in the material instance. The color lookup table is punching up and intensifying certain colors within the scene. And actually, the best way to do this is to build the lights first, so everything gets baked and represents a more accurate color within the scene, and then change the color of the pipes. So I just changed the lighting quality to production, and now I'm baking lights. This will take a little bit, but obviously I've sped this up. And then once it's done baking, go back to your post-process volume and re-enable the values for minimum and maximum brightness you had before. In my case, I had minimum brightness at 0.01 and maximum brightness at 2. And now the colors of the pipes match the scene better, and adjusting them through the material instance will be more accurate. So I'm going to test out different colors for the medium pipes, and I'm going to end up using a very similar red that we had in the beginning, and also adjust the color of the small pipes. And in the end, this is what we have, and I'm pretty happy with how we implemented the pipes into an existing scene that was created a while back. Alright, so now we have one scene finished. I like the positioning of the pipes, and I want to do the same thing for the same scene but at a different lighting scenario, the one for nighttime. Since we already positioned all the pipes, and both scenes were created in the exact same spot, I'm going to select all the pipes, copy, then open up the nighttime lit scene, and paste the pipes in. And they will be positioned in the exact same spot. Everything is looking good. I'm going to adjust auto exposure settings to make the scene a bit brighter. I'm going to change it to 0.045. And now I'm going to go and begin to adjust the color of the pipes through the material instance, and just seeing what else maybe we could change the pipes to. And I don't like any of them, so I'm going to stick with red because it does match the scene in the complementary color scheme with red and green, and then it also matches our decal color, so there's unity and harmony in the scene. And now the last step is to bake this on production light quality. And we are now done with the nighttime scene. To learn how to create modular pipes from scratch, how to figure out all the sizes and dimensions, how to model, UV, bake normal maps, how to texture, and then bring all these pipes over into UE4. You'll end up creating 3 different pipe sizes and a total of 32 static meshes. And then you have the corridor project. Here we don't create the static meshes, but you get to use the 31 custom static meshes that come with the corridor project to create the 2 scenes you saw, the daytime lit scene and the nighttime lit scene. And we go through all the steps to constructing the environment and lighting it. And the corridor project nicely complements the modular pipes project. So download one or both of the tutorials today. Go to worldofleveldesign.com/store or look into a description below this video for the links, and they will also be included within the blog post.